all of us were laughing. We were having the greatest time. We had nothing back then. Our backyard was the size of this bed, and we had absolutely nothing. None of us did.
Happy though.
50 years later, look what we all have. And every picture of us, we are smiling. We are laughing. We still have that wonderful time together.
We were going on a boat trip, and we were putting things in the boat, and I was putting all the food away in the cupboard. But earlier that day, or the day before, I found a jar of peanuts, and I opened them up. They had probably been in there a year or two, and I tasted them, and I thought, they taste just fine. That's amazing. You know, to be left in the winter and to freeze and everything else.
In the boat?
In the boat. They were in the boat.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. And so, after tasting them, I thought, they're really pretty good. Well, Yvonne brought I think it was probably a half-full jar of cashews. So, when I was putting the cashews, I thought, well, I have 2 bottles of nuts, you know, I'll just mix them together. So I mixed my crummy peanuts with her cashews, and she was couldn't believe I could do that. How did you? She said, I was so excited that I had cashews, and so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give her cashews, don't you think? And actually, I felt guilty about it all these years, so now I can get over my guilt. Right?
Right. There
right.
You go. There you go. You feel better now?
Yeah, I feel a lot better. Yeah.
She might feel better too. So.
Yeah, she'll probably feel a lot better.
Well, we've known Art and Yvonne for many years, probably since about 1971 or 2, somewhere in there.
Right.
And we met because I had an MGTF that I had gotten from my father-in-law that needed to be restored. So Art helped me get going on it and helped me find suppliers that I could get parts from and all of that. So the first time we went on a trip with them was 75. We went to Toronto in that restored MGTF. And it was not a faultless trip. We had a couple of problems along the way. But we were going to Toronto for an MG meet, and the car quit running. And 401, if you're familiar with it, is a high-speed 6-lane traffic.
Probably today I mean, that was so long ago. Probably today it's.
Probably. Anyway, we go back a long ways. Over the years, we moved up. We were both in the same club, the Speckled Hens. And he was an original president, and I was shortly after he was president. And we moved up. We finally left Grand Rapids and moved up north. in about 98 or something like that.
Right.
So Art would come up, and that was the heyday of the.
We're not supposed to be waving at people, are we?
Anyway, that
They're
was also the heyday of salmon fishing in the Great Lakes. So Art and I used to go out fishing, and then come back in the afternoon and rebuild an MGTC that I currently still have. And we've gone on many MGTC trips. But over the years, every time Art got another car, he would call me up and say, "Hey, I got a really slick car. You ought to take a look at this."
Of course, Art the salesman.
Yeah. So I did buy a few cars from him over the years, and he sold a few cars for me. But anyway, one thing that occurred 10 years ago is he called me up and said, it was his nephew. He says, "My nephew found a dog. I think you would like to have this dog." So now he's trying to sell me a dog. So I didn't think too much about it, but then he called me back a couple of days later. He said, "You got to go see that dog because your dog is in its demise." So I said, "Okay, we'll go over and see it." So when we got over there, it was at a cabin in the woods, and his nephew, I think his name was Josh, had this dog, and the dog was about that high,
Thin.
and had long legs, and it probably weighed 25 pounds. So anyway, Art told me that I should go see this dog. It's a beautiful dog, and I'd really like it. So I thought to myself, I can't believe he's going to sell me a dog. So we went over there and watched this dog playing in the woods with two other dogs, and he was the fastest dog. He's a black Labrador, as I mentioned, small puppy, 6 months old. And Josh says to me, "Why don't you take him home for a week and see if it'll work out?"
Bring him back next week.
Bring
Yeah,
him-
sure.
So anyway, we took the dog home, and that dog was a little apprehensive when we brought him home. But on the second day, he decided that's where he's going to be. That's where he's going to stay. He's going to be our dog. He made up his mind. So anyway, Art did end up selling me that dog.
And what I'm doing is, they're in there. They're out. Yvonne's out there waving and laughing at us. Yeah.
So anyway,
It's not that I'm crazy.
after we got this dog, I thought to myself, what are we going to name this dog? And Shirley said, well, Wes calls Art Louie. Why don't you name him Louie? So the dog is Louie. Now we have that dog today, and he's 10 and a half years old or 11 years old. And he is a wonderful dog, the biggest lab I've ever had. He's not only this long, but he's this high, and he weighs 100 pounds. And he's a wonderful dog. He has the silkiest black shiny coat you've ever seen.
So thanks to Art, right?
So thanks to Art.
We're Paul and Alice Morrissey, neighbors of Art and Yvonne since they moved in on 4 Mile Road years ago, 7 Mile Road. First time we met Yvonne was in the early 60s when she was a teenager on the woodland tours with her dad and mom up at Alice's house up in Kent City. They had a big picnic for the Horseless Carriage Club, and all the girls and Rob were all dressed with the same shirts, I think blue and white shirts with cars on them. So all the girls and Rob were up there for games with the cars.
Their parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
So we'd been on several car tours with Wes and Jean, and with the Myrick girls and boy. And then we kind of lost track of them for a while, and saw them again later when they moved in on 7 Mile.
Which we lived on Chauncey, kind of right around the corner.
Yep. Yep.
And then, I know. Then we started to. Then Yvonne went to work, and so we took care of Michelle and Danielle for about 5 years. Played with our daughter Kathy. Michelle and Kathy are the same age. So that kind of cemented our relationship. Then we kind of became like family to them. Attended all the weddings, graduations, funerals, and things that went on. And we lived next door to Art and Yvonne for,
Well,
well,
before that, they lived on 7 Mile and we lived here on Chauncey, and they wanted to build a new home. And they loved the spot where this house is, which we owned. We owned from 7 Mile down to the park. And so they wanted to, we'd sold part of the property up on top here, but they wanted to buy this hill where we had a big tree house at the time, built on stilts, on telephone poles, where the kids played. But they always wanted to buy that little spot. Well, we didn't really look to sell it. So one afternoon she came over and got on her knees and begged to sell that piece of property to them.
which was right here.
Yeah, so we said, well, we weren't looking to sell that. We may want to build on it ourselves later, retirement home or something. So we said, well, we'll think it over. And we'll let them know the first part of the week. And Yvonne said that was the longest weekend she ever spent because they wanted to build up here. They were ready to build. Art was doing well, she was doing well. Family was growing. So the first part of the week then we said we'd sell it. So we sold them this piece of property, long driveway coming in and so forth, and they've been great neighbors ever since.
It was very convenient for the girls to walk down to our house and play then.
We built a path back and forth, kept it mowed, so they come back, go down and play with us.
Great neighbors. You need something, you just call Art and Yvonne. They're right there.
Yeah. And then, of course, with the MGs, I bought my first MG from Wes. That was the YT, and Art helped me put it together because it was all in pieces. So Art and I kind of bonded on that. And then later, Alice had an MG when she was single before I met her, and that went in through her family. And later we bought it back from her brothers, and then Art and I rebuilt that one. That was a 52 TD, and we built that. So Art and I bonded again for that one, and that turned out great.
Yes, he did.
Then he finally helped me sell that when we retired, and that went to Berlin, Germany, as Art can sell anything.
We took several trips with them. Had a lot of fun up at St. Ignace,
Yeah,
playing games. Paul took there was no table big enough for a card table, so Paul took the door off the bathroom. We
made our own table.
made our own table so we could play cards. So good memories up in St. Ignace. Other places, we went to Hershey, Pennsylvania with them, and been at all the weddings and all kinds of things that Art and Yvonne have been in. Oh, much happiness, health.
Good health.
Lots of health.
Good health and good travels.
Yep,
They're doing great in their retirement now and travel and
yep.
great time down in Florida. We see them once in a while down there, mainly connected with the car stuff.
But you know, my mother used to tell me, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And that's so true. So we wish them the best of health.
Yep.
And
And
then-
many, many, many more years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And they're a fun couple. They'll do just fine.
Always
Yeah.
do.
Yep, they always do. Yeah, very nice people.
Pat Sajak and Vanna White.
Yeah, even though they're not married, but they're a TV couple. So, you know, Pat Sajak, he's got the job, right? I mean, he's like the speaker, the entertainer, and she just looks beautiful, big smile on her face. Clearly, the smarter one of the two. You know, I mean, that was pretty obvious in the
Well,
shows.
Art's a good-looking guy too. Don't get us wrong.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah, that was it.
That was
It's
it.
Pat and Vanna.
Yep.
Yep. Happy anniversary, Art and Yvonne.
Happy
Love
anniversary.
Happy anniversary! Art and Yvonne, we are so glad we met you through the car club, and we've remained friends all these years. And remember all the fun times we had in our little cars on the trips, like the time up north where we all got in the hot tub and were singing, as we always used to break into song. And any little thing, and we got
Quite often.
got in the hot tub, and these two gals got in, and they said, "Are you guys in a singing group?" And we go, "Oh yeah," you know. And then
We were traveling professionals at the time.
yeah, and so, but then after we said that, some lady was up on the balcony and she yelled, "Shut up!"
They'll know what we're talking about.
So, and remember, hats off to Larry. That was was that the same trip?
It was the same trip. It was in Mackinac.
Yeah.
Actually, we did that 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
So,
So anyway, it's been great, you guys, and we hope to have a lot more adventures with you, and we wish you a very happy anniversary and many, many more.
yep. and
Love
Thanks,
you guys.
thanks for being our friends. We appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So given how young I was, which was like 8, probably 9, I remember going with Art in his little Mustang, picking up a poodle to give to Yvonne for a gift. As she's 18 or 19, why would you give
She got a poodle?
a poodle, a little black poodle named Pierre?
Oh,
And
that's
we
so
named him
cute.
Pete. And of course, guess who inherits him? My mom and dad.
Oh.
And we love Pete. But I remember Art doing it. Thought, what a nice thing. And then I think Art gave Yvonne a big rabbit or a big teddy bear at that time it was the yellow Boattail Auburn. And he put it in there. I thought, wow, I mean, how weird is that now, given this big stuffed animal? Maybe it's not weird, but big stuffed animal. I thought, oh, they love each other.
Aw, that's so sweet. We were at Olive Garden in Muskegon, and I was with Danielle, and she walks up to the table, and I was just so shocked, but enamored by her beauty. I couldn't stop looking at her because she was just so beautiful, and I saw so much of Seth in her, in the eyes, and you know, just a great time. And then the first time that I met Art and Yvonne, we met at Panera in Lansing, which we just drove by there today, and just what a wonderful time. We just didn't have enough hours in the day to just talk about all the things that we wanted to talk about. And little did we know that there was a major storm going on in Grand Rapids, and lots of trees were falling and all kinds of things like that. But we were in our own little world, and just was a great time. And you know, I just can't say enough great things. We love you guys so much.
I'd have to say the first time I met Art and my mom was at Panera Bread, and it was the first time ever meeting her and Art, and really anxious for the moment, and because I'd heard a lot about her and everything from my sisters, and really looking forward to the day, and brought some flowers for her, you know, to make a good first impression. I mean, you know, to be a good son.
Good son.
You know, and so I met her and Art, and I couldn't take my eyes off from her. You know, just you know, I thought, wow, this is the woman that gave me life. You know, and thank her to the end of my days for the decisions that she made, and to, you know, bring me into this world. And I remember sitting at the table and just, you know, trading stories, just you know, breaking the ice and getting to know one another, and we were holding hands, and she just kept staring into my eyes, and you know, and it was such a wonderful moment. I will always remember it, and thank her forever for everything. So love you, Mom, and Art. You two are wonderful people, and I'm so happy for you that this is your 50th wedding anniversary. And,
Wow.
and it's really a testament to, you know, your love for one another, and something that we can all look forward to and strive for is to be like that. So
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
We love you guys.
This is Ken. I'm Sandy. And
Ken and Sandy Heriberta.
Right.
And we are friends for many years, since the 70s, and we play in the poker group.
That's our purpose.
That's where the guys play poker and the ladies talk and go to the show. and then we all come back together. And we've had a great time. Ken is actually first cousins with Kathy Donker. So the Donkers have been friends. Hank was Louie, Art, Ken's best friend when they were growing up. So that's why they introduced us to this group of people, and we have been playing cards with them ever since.
So we're going to give you a couple of little anecdotes about that. Art plays pretty good poker. He can't bluff, and 727 is not his game. Other than that, that's poker.
Mm-hmm.
And Sandy goes to movies.
Right. And our favorite memory that we could think of, our fun memory, is that Art and Yvonne let us borrow a car once where we went with the whole poker group, and we all had one of his fancy cars. And we,
MGTD.
And we
52,
drove,
I think.
we caravanned to Holland and had dinner. And we thought we were so cool because we never had a car like that. We never even sat in a convertible before.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to drive it all the way to Holland, and we really appreciated that. So that was very fun. And all we need to say to Art and Yvonne is we
love you.
We love them, and we are so happy and blessed that you are in our life and are just fabulous friends, and we wish you nothing but the best for however many years you are a couple on this earth.
Throw kisses.
Love you.
Love you.
It's back in probably 1972 when Pam and I had just moved back from California, and we went to Art and Yvonne's house because we had met Art and Yvonne few years earlier through Kathy and Hank. But we were at their house, and Art said, "Come here, you got to see this," and took me out to his garage, and he had one of those on Burlingame, one of those garage doors that kind of opened up, not like new garage doors, but like they open up like that. And he flicked it open, and this car appeared, and it was, and I said, "What the hell is that?" And he goes, "It's a 52 MG TD." And I looked at him and I said, "Man, I got to have one of those." And then when we moved back to Michigan, it wasn't like 6 months before Art called me up and said, "They got a guy named Ron Blanding, a friend of mine up in Greenville, that's got one of these for sale." And so he and I went up there. Long story short, it was a basket case. I was really hesitant about buying it for $1,250, seeing as we just bought our first house. But he talked me into it, and we owned that car for 35 years, right? And it was a pretty cool car.
So that's it.
One
of your favorite things you did with Art. I can tell.
Oh,
I can tell.
I can tell that too. Again, Art got me into the automobiles and stuff, and it was probably, I can't remember the year, but I was looking for a MGA and found an MGA Mark II Deluxe out in California, and I had mentioned it to Art when we were at John Twist's birthday party, and he goes, "Let's go get it. I'll go get it with you." So he and I flew out to California, picked up the car. We took old Route 66 all the way back to Grand Rapids, and it wasn't until Kankakee, Illinois or something like that. It was in February till it started snowing, and we hit it in bad weather and all, but it was a great trip. It was a great trip.
I'm going to talk about more Yvonne than Art because Art, the guy, you know how it is, guys, girls.
Art's been a great friend for a lot of years.
Yeah, we've had him. But my first bonding probably with Yvonne was when we got that car, the first MG TD, which was a piece of junk when it got towed to our house, and it was, the guts were coming out of the seats and everything, and I thought, "Oh, LaBosca, what the hell are we doing with this car?" And but how many years later? 2 years later, it was beautiful.
3.
It was beautiful. So we went for our first MG trip to the Pocono Mountains with them, and it was it was quite an experience going through the mountains. And of course, we're driving our car, they're driving their car, and I think you guys got sick of us. And all of a sudden, it's like, let's switch drivers. And Yvonne was a driver. It didn't bother her. So she was driving her car, and I went with her, and Art came with you, and I thought, okay, they must be sick of us. And so anyway, we were driving, and I think that's probably when we bonded the most, was we just talked and talked and talked on this trip.
On that trip.
And it was just a lot of fun. And the whole rest of the trip was so much fun. So that was Yvonne and I. But I have a picture, and Yvonne, you might have the same one. And don't ask me to find this one because I don't know where it is. But there's a picture of us, the four of us, in our backyard on Jeanette Street. And our backyard was probably about as big as your bed. And we had just a picnic, not a picnic table, but just a card table set up with our chairs around it. And you had Michelle and I had Jenny. And Michelle, your mother loved beer cans. And she would walk around that table, and anybody that had an empty, it was empty, they were all empty, and she was about 18 months old. But we have a picture of her trying to down beer like this. And we sat there, and I looked at that picture, and I thought, all of us were laughing. We were having the greatest time. We had nothing back then. Our backyard was the size of this bed, and we had absolutely nothing. None of us did.
Happy though.
50 years later, look what we all have. And every picture of us, we are smiling. We are laughing. We still have that wonderful time together.
Good clothes.
Yes.
Good friends.
Yep. Yeah. Good friends.
Good
50
clothes.
years of friendship.
Congratulations to you both. We wish you the best of days. It's been a great 50 years. You've had a lot to achieve. Look at all what you got right here, your two lovely daughters, and how you married them off to people who you thought you could have never married them off to. So they did very well. Good for you. Good job.
They did very well.
Yes, they did very well for themselves, and thank you for all that you do for us. We are very thankful to have you in our lives, and we wish you the greatest of the next 50 years.
Congratulations on 50 years. I really am so happy for you guys. You make it look easy. You know, I have thought about what story I could tell. I've got a lot of really fun memories from our kids and our childhood, riding on the fire engine and having the dog and just always having something fun to do. Always different variety. You guys keep the spice in your life. I'm very happy for you. Congratulations. Love you. And I've been told that it's probably an inappropriate story, the Florida, your Florida phone call, Mom, and the poison ivy. So I think that's probably the key to staying married for so long. Good job, Mom. Love you.
I think that it's their friendship. I think their friendship helps the relationship. The husband.
Yeah,
that's a
they
good
are
balance
best
to have.
friends.
Yeah, it's
They
pretty.
really are.
It's pretty amazing to want to spend so much time with your spouse and do all the things they do together. So.
Yep. And we tell our kids about that too.
Sorry, I gotta go.
We enjoyed our time with you, playing euchre and on the boat and fun. And when Craig came into the picture 25 years ago, it was super fun because you let us take all the fun cars and the boats and really enjoy.
And what marriage can't last on a bullhorn?
My first memory of my Aunt Yvonne and Uncle Art is that coming over to the house when I was little and getting to play with the dollhouse that's in the basement. I just loved it. Aunt Yvonne was playing with me. It was so much fun. And then a memory with Uncle Art is he got to take me out in the Bug, or the Mini Cooper. The Mini Cooper is what it was. And it had the British flag on top, and it was so exciting to be able to ride in that. And there was a Bug, too. I think he took me in both of those cars. Yeah. So I really, really enjoyed those memories. Riding around with family is just the best. And then I want to wish them an amazing 50 more years. You guys are amazing, and I wish you all the happiness.
first extravaganza because, you know, they kind of just felt so glad that they could bring everybody in our family together.
Yeah, they always brought us together, and we had such a good relationship with all of our cousins, and just feel like very close with everybody, like brother and sister. And
even with meeting Seth and Austin and Brad, it just felt good to like get to know them as like an entire family and not just
including them into the family.
Definitely.
And everything.
I hope that they're very happy and they have a long time together.
Yeah, they're always happy whenever we see
yeah.
them. They're never mad or anything. And they
Always-
always do fun stuff together all the time. They're always doing something. They're
Mhm.
active. I hope they continue to be like active and doing stuff still. I know they will.
And always looking at the positives. I feel like that's a good thing. They always
Always,
find good things
yeah.
in the negative.
I always hope they're
There's
in
no
good
negative.
health
Yeah.
because if they're in good health, you know, they can always keep that like adventurous spirit that they always want to have.
So our favorite memory with Art and Yvonne was when we went to Florida 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they asked us if we wanted to do this alligator kayaking down the river. And Tim is like, what? I'm like, sure, let's do it. And then she says, well, no one else will do it with us. So we did. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was what I was expected it to be, I guess. Kayaking with alligators.
Have
So
you guys?
so we loaded our boats in the water, and we go out there, and I said, "Hey, has anybody ever gotten hurt?" Well, not many people. There was a person about 3 months ago that lost a leg, but they were provoking the alligators right before we get in the water.
Yeah. We're like, what?
So then we get in the water, and we go out in the first ravine. We go out in the first little area there, and there's probably 50 to 75 alligators all circling around us. I look at my wife and I go, what the heck are we doing out here?
And Yvonne's like, come on, let's go. This is fun. Anyway, to make a long story short, we saw how many that day? Art was in the front.
Yeah, he was counting them. I don't
Mhm.
know. It was a lot.
Yeah.
Until we got near the end, and one about as big as our canoe jumped in the water right behind Art, and I go, "Hey, Art, you got a big alligator following behind you." And he goes, "Oh, just keep going and put him in your rear view." Until later, when he's seen the video of it,
Right, how
that
big
we
it
took,
was.
how big that alligator was following behind him,
Mhm.
I think he understood what we were saying.
Yeah. But all in all, we survived.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, Art and Yvonne, they're really good friends. They're good motivation for us as we get older to, what we can have as we get older. So really appreciate that, and just Wes too. Really motivation. Wes and Art for me as a guy and a car guy. They're just huge to what I'd like to be when I get older. So.
Mm-hmm. Both a huge inspiration.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We'll never forget Wes.
Yeah.
Always, 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 always in our heart forever. Yep. And that's it. We love you, Art and Yvonne.
Yep.
I'm Rob Myrick, Yvonne's brother.
And Trudy.
And, I'm not sure the first time we met Art. It's been so long and stuff, but one of the things that stick out really about just the wedding night is, I was only like 15 years old, and they allowed me to drink, and I never made it to supper. I ended up in the bushes. So I missed the rest of the night, but it was, it was such a big deal to be in their wedding, my older sister and stuff. So, but things that we remember about them, as a couple and stuff, and as like Art is, such a giving person, such a smart person. He's meant so much, with my father's death, what he has done to get this thing, get the estate settled in such a short time and such an organized time, and at a fair and stuff, and and it's just many years of just good caring, just like tonight. It's just just a wonderful time. A lot of tears, just a lot of tears of happiness for me, anyway. You know, bringing up the past and stuff, and it's just, yeah, you know, tonight is one of those things that make it what family's about. You know, just celebrating and having a good time, and thinking of the past and looking to the future, and hopefully we have many, 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 many years. Maybe we can be as good as our father and your grandfather, that we can have a, you know, in our 90s or 100s. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And just a pleasure to be here, and a pleasure to share this with them, and we, you know, just love them, and just nice
Super
people.
happy anniversary.
Yeah.
And hope Rob's just starting the retirement years, and boy, the way you guys have fun and go places and do things, and as the wind blows and stuff, we need to take a little bit of lessons from you there and see if instead do. I got to work for a little bit yet, but then someday here we'll maybe we can copy some of your retirement wonderful years here in life. Oh, 50 years. 1969. Let's see. The man walked on the moon in Woodstock. And a couple other things. Sesame Street started that year. And you guys got married. So what a year. Thanks.
And it's so nice to have a party like this, to think back and to enjoy it, and to document it like this. Is a nice thing, and appreciate you doing it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thanks.
I met Art and Yvonne through Wes, knew Wes before, and they came down, and they kept talking about Grand Rapids, and she came down in the wintertime and came to the same church that I go to, and she kept talking about Grand Rapids. One day on the way home from church, I said, "Where do you live in Michigan that's close to Grand Rapids?" I said, "I have a friend who's from Michigan, and he always talks about Grand Rapids, and his name is Wes." And she says, "It wouldn't be Wes Myrick, would it?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Oh my, that's a cousin." So she and Yvonne got together and talked about all their family and everything, and that's how they became reacquainted. And Art and Yvonne have been such good neighbors and friends. They are so special to me, and I want to wish them a very happy anniversary and many more.
I'm Fran, and I am a cousin. For the first time that I knew that to Yvonne was after Pat had just told me about Wes. I knew Wes because he had known my grandmother, Maddie, and he knew my mother, Dolores. And so he had taken my children on rides in his antique cars, which they just loved. And so she called me and said that Yvonne wanted to come and meet me, and we discovered that my grandma Maddie was her aunt, and that her dad, her grandpa, Elmer, was Maddie's brother, and they were brother and sister. And so I discovered I was the lost cousin, and I have all these girls and all of these friends, and we had a marvelous time tonight, and I thank you for inviting me, and I hope they have a wonderful, wonderful celebration forever, that it doesn't ever stop. So, and you're one of the grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the crowd. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you all for being here. On behalf of Yvonne and the family, thank you all for being here to help us celebrate 50 years and 2 days of my mom was going to be here, and then she wasn't going to be here, and then she was going to be here, and then she wasn't going to be here. She's 93 years young, and she finally decided she's not going to be here. So, but she's with us in spirit, and she wishes us all well. We have a long-distance person, a couple. Pat Askins from our neighbor in Florida is here. That's awesome. She wins the long distance, but Joanne and Krista came from Virginia. And we have a short distance award that goes to Tim and Judy Shearhorn, 400 feet. 400 feet. And then we had a few people we invited that couldn't be here for various reasons, but the best excuse for not being here was Margot Spencer, girlfriend of Yvonne's, and some of you know her. She and Bryce could not be here. She got the invitation. She called a week or so before the party and said she'd love to be here, but she can't. She's up for a heart transplant. And it was successful, and she's kicking, and she's doing really well. Yvonne and I we were downtown. We stopped at the hospital to see her and just peek in the room just for a couple of minutes, and she is doing well, and that's pretty cool. So I guess we'll forgive her for not being here. There's a lot of people here. I'd like to address the wedding party people that are here. And our maiden of honor, right, Julie? Julie Lamb, Yvonne's sister, was our maiden of honor. She was a Myrick back then. But something really special, and not just a few days or a couple weeks or whatever from now, Julie's going to be celebrating 20 years of being cancer-free. We love you, Julie. Here's to 20 more and 20 more after that. Okay, great. My sister Peggy was in the wedding. Peggy. Sweet Peggy, she's in one of the pictures there. She didn't care for your hairdo or something, or the glasses you're wearing. But I have to tell you, we had a polka contest, and she won it that night. I won't make fun of you too much here, Peg. But no, she's a dear, sweet sister. And I just mentioned another sister. My baby sister Debbie is here as well. So, okay.
Only 11.
She was only 11. Joanne, our long-distance person, is also Yvonne's sister. She and Debbie are the same age, and they were just little 10, 11 years old at the time. But anyway, on the guy side, my brother Bob was in the wedding. Where are you, Bob? Right here? My little brother Bob. And my brother-in-law Rob. Where are you, Rob? Right here, Rob. I don't know who had more fun at the party, but I think at the reception, but I think Rob took first place that night. He'll explain it to you. Anybody who wants to know, he'll tell you his story, his version of it anyway, later. And Bob, if you look at the picture over here, Bob came up to about here on me. You're just a little guy then, weren't you? And now he's here. But anyway, yeah, he's 15 years old. It was cool. My brother Bill couldn't be here. He was also in the wedding. He's camping in Iowa Royal. Our best man. When I was growing up, I had damn it. When I was growing up, I had my very, very, very best friend, Hank Donker. And we promised each other from when we were teenagers or before that when we got married, we'd be each other's best man.
And you weren't going to get married till you were 30.
And we were going to get married till we were 30 or so. We were going to. He was 20, I was 21. But anyway, when it came to Vietnam was going on, and Hank was in the Air Force, and when it came right down to it, he could not be there. So I had a surrogate, Jerry Shear, but Hank Donker, my best man. And by the way, Jerry was full aware that he was a surrogate. In fact, that 2-year period, he was the best man in 13 weddings. He was. He was. He is a professional best man. Great guy. And before I go a little bit further, our wedding cake here was baked. Another couple that couldn't make it, Bob and Pat Moen. Pat is went to culinary school and has baked hundreds of cakes. And this is her gift to us. She recreated our original wedding cake. And that's the original topper that was on back 50 years and 2 days ago.
Oh my
And she embellished it a little bit and whatever, but that thing weighs about 3,500 or 35 pounds. I hope you're hungry because it's chocolate and vanilla and all that. But just real briefly. For
everything.
Well, yeah. You almost take her for granted, but Michelle McClary just helped and helped and helped some more, and did the table decorations and set up. Yeah, Michelle. Thank you, Yvonne. And she even recruited Tim to do our invocation. That was awesome. Thank you. But she made it fun and she made it easy for us, so that was great.
She made it stress-free.
Stress-free. Yeah. She had all the stress, not us.
She's the adopted daughter.
Yeah. I also want to mention our history. I met Yvonne in our second semester of junior college in our English class, Miss Sonk's English class. And I laid eyes on her, and I was very shy around girls at the time, believe it or not. And I don't know how much I learned in that class, but I sure, I was really smitten, really, really bad, and I chased and I chased and I chased some more, and gosh, I got really lucky, and I met her family. We started dating. A mutual friend introduced us finally, and started dating, and I met her family and all her cute sisters. They're all teenagers, except Joanne, of course, but yeah, the cutest sisters and a very handsome brother, let's put it that way. Actually, Rob was cute back then. He really was. I don't know what happened, Rob, but and I met her dad, and Wes was a great guy. You see his tribute to him a little bit around here, and most all of you knew Wes, but they say, and I think there's some shred of truth in it, that I fell in love with Wes and I married his daughter. But anyway, I chased, and we got married, and the rest is history, as I say. It was 50 years and 2 days ago. Our honeymoon was very short-lived. It was like a 2-day deal. We went to Chicago and back. We're on the road more than we were honeymooning because I started my junior year at Western. The next day we got home, and so a year later, we did take a decent honeymoon. We had a little 69 VW convertible, a yellow one, and we went to Niagara Falls, and we went to Bar Harbor, Maine, and Cape Cod, and we had a really good time and came home. And a month or so ago, I mentioned, Yvonne, wouldn't it be neat, because we still have a VW convertible. It's an 04, and we're going to take a second honeymoon, if you will, and retrace our steps. We're going to do it again. It's been an exciting journey being married all these years. It's quite an adventure. Yvonne and her family, and it's just, I fell into it, I guess, and I had a great family myself, and it just best of both worlds merged together. And the fruits of our marriage, I just want to touch lightly on the outcome of that marriage. We have 2 beautiful daughters, Michelle and Danielle. They're very caring, loving mothers and spouses. They have great husbands, great rock-solid guys, Rob and Craig. Couldn't ask for better son-in-laws. Yeah. Yeah, I'm almost done here. Michelle married Rob, and Rob's passion, I just touch on his passion, is golf, G-O-L-F, golf, and sports. And recently, at a tournament, he hit a hole-in-one. Yeah. And he's had 4 in his lifetime. Wow. Who can beat that? Hank? Paul? You've only had 2, Paul. Just 1? Anyway, And he won a 2-year lease on a Lexus. And what a nice guy. He gave that to his dad. It's just awesome. So I'm hoping he gets another hole-in-one real soon. They have 2 great kids, Elizabeth, who's 19 years old, a sophomore at ASU. She's a swimmer. She's a hard worker, dedicated, and a will to win. She's quite an athlete. I wish she was here to join in with us. When you put your arm around Elizabeth, it's like it's rock solid. she is an athlete. It's just amazing. And just recently, Mom and Dad got her a yellow Camaro. Some of you have seen it. It's out in our barn right now if you want to take a peek at it. She found it. Yeah. I went out and inspected it. It's a really cool car. Derek's 15. And Derek, what do you think of that Camaro? Yeah, okay. Derek's a sophomore at Saline High School. He's our hockey player. Dad's trying to get him into golf a little bit. He's got a note here. Okay, that's Elizabeth. Anyways, Derek's a great guy. You're into Fortnite now, I understand. Doing some of that and having a good time. Have you discovered girls yet, Derek? Not quite yet? You'll get there, buddy. And Danielle married Craig. And I just want to talk about passions. Craig is what I call a toy guy. This guy has had it all. Jeeps, a passing parade of Jeeps, off-road dirt bikes, snowmobiles, boats. He's more than anything a boat person, and even has an ice boat that he actually takes out and goes on the ice with. Jet skis and you name it. If there's a toy to be had, Craig has had it or he's going to have it. And then their oldest daughter is Morgan, 18 years old. She's a freshman at Grand Rapids Junior College. She's a business major there, and you're going to set the world on fire, kid. I know that. Yeah.
She runs the gas dock.
And she runs the gas dock, and she's the real deal. Solid A's, and anyway. Then we have Ryan, 16 years old. She just got her driver's license, and she's a junior. She's a junior at Grand Haven High School, and she works the boat docks too, and made a few bucks this summer, to say the least. And lacrosse player. You're a lacrosse player. As a freshman, she was bumped up to the varsity team. And yeah, no, as a sophomore at Grand Haven High School. I said that, didn't I? Yeah. And then Jackson, this is our baby. He's 13. He's 13. Seventh grade, right? 8th grade. He's an 8th grader at Lakeshore Middle School in the Grand Haven system. He loves tennis and pickleball, and he's our resident Transformers expert. Anything about Transformers. He even has some YouTube videos. They're really cute. And he also is in Fortnite, and I understand he and Derek have played against each other, or with each other on the line. Anyway, that's our 2 daughters. And then we have our son, Seth. And I think all of you know our story. And we're celebrating over 5 years. Celebrating over 5 years of being reunited. I'll tell you, it was a blessing in our life to have him back and get to know him. He's a real tough guy to get to know. You know, anybody that's visited with Seth for 5 minutes, it's like you've known him for a long, long time. And he's a real deal. Words can't describe how we feel about him. Getting emotional again. But we're gonna segue from Seth and talk about his lovely wife Pam. Pam has a passion in life too, and she is a collector, a fellow collector. Oh wow! And she loves birds, and lots of birds, and Christmas trees decorated with how many hundreds of birds? Another Christmas tree. And she likes license plates with birds on them. So she's real easy for birthdays and and all Christmas. Real easy because I happen to have a few bird plates up here. But anyway, but Pam's a treat, always a treat to be with you. And then their son Brad is 21. Where are you, Brad? Right here. Oh, 22. Jeez. What happened? 22. That's right. You were 21, though. He's 22. He's a junior at U of M, engineering, majoring in engineering. And he and his dad love remote control car racing. And they are big in it. And Brad, you're one of the top ones in your league, aren't you? They go over the United States doing their remote control thing. That's a passion. He too is a collector. That gene passed down from his great grandpa Wes, big time. Anybody who knew Wes knew he was a collector. It's amazing what that kid has collected already at age 22. With him tonight is his girlfriend, Lacey. Lacey was his tutor at U of M. I don't know what you're teaching him, but it seems to be working out. And then their youngest son is Austin. Austin's not here, but Austin is a 19-year-old. He's a sophomore now at Saginaw Valley. Is it called University? Yep. University. He's a track star. He too, like Derek, is figuring out his navigation with the girls and all that business. He's not here, so I can say that. Yeah. But I love that kid. He has such a positive attitude, and he too is going to go places. All of our grandkids are going to go places. We're very proud of him. And that's all I have. I told you to keep it straight. I know some of you have brought stories we asked to share. If you'd like, you can do it now or on the video. And Mike, you raised your hand.
I just wanted to say thank you for keeping it short.
Thank you. Well, I am hooked up to a mic, and anytime I get a mic, I go nuts. But again, thank you all so very much for being here and helping us celebrate. We love each and every one of you, and let's party. Okay. Yeah. Oh.
Good job.
Okay. I guess, yeah. Yeah, okay. We'd like to say a few words. Now, I know I'm already on record of with my little speech there, so I'll turn it over to Yvonne to say a few things.
Oh my gosh, I feel emotional just if I start talking, but first of all, I want to thank Max and Derek so much because this was an incredible gift to us. Yeah. It was incredible because when the party's over, all you have are your memories, and at our age, our memories, aren't always that good. But anyway,
Yes, they are.
Thank you so much, you guys, for doing this for us. And just we want to say, to all of our friends out there and our family that we love you. We're so happy with the way the party worked out. And we're just very, very blessed and grateful and just really appreciate everything. So thank you.
Yeah, I can say the same thing all over again, but just to close, I'd like to say how very proud we are of our kids and our grandkids and the excitement and adventure this whole life has been. And we've hit 50 years in 2 days, and we're hoping for as many years and days that the Lord wants to give us. But we're going to enjoy every minute of it thanks to our great team, our great family behind us. And it's just a proud moment tonight.
It is.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
We love everyone.
We love all of you so much. And just very, very grateful. So.
Amen.
Thank you.
Good. Okay. Okay. Thanks, guys.